Hello everyone, welcome to this series on the axe and the TrailBlade by TrailBlade. My name is Ross Mason and I'm hosting this series. Both the articles and the videos within this series are really designed to compare two really cool tools, Wetterling's Forest Axe and the Palawan TrailBlade. Now, in these series we're talking of course in terms of meeting survival needs, and we're going to address those needs in the rule of threes. Basically the rule of threes goes first 3 seconds, the first 3 minutes, the first 3 hours, then the next 3 days, 3 weeks, and then 3 months. All have a huge impact in your timeline in a survival scenario. In this video series, we're talking about the 3 seconds and the 3 minutes. We're going to get ahead and get these out of the way, and then the next video series are going to go through the 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. And those video series are going to have a lot of very cool hands-on tools like building shelters, snares, things of that nature. This video though, we're kind of setting the foundation for all that. We're comparing these two tools, of course. The first 3 seconds in a survival situation is basically talking about how quickly you can be placed into a scenario that's hostile, into an environment that's not in total control. And when you're placed in that scenario, it really has a lot to do with the training or the preparation that you've prepared yourself for that scenario to occur. So a lot of that is around your training, your skills, and the tools that you have with you. The tools that we're going to be carrying in this survival series is pretty straightforward. Wetterling's Forest Axe, Palawan TrailBlade. Let me introduce you to these two real quick. Palawan TrailBlade. The makers of this TrailBlade, of course, have done a real good job of introducing it, of talking about the elements of it that make it really unique. From my perspective, here's what I love about the TrailBlade. It's got a very sharp edge, of course. That's critical in having any type of blade, to have a good sharp edge on it. It has a very large, flat back end to it. I can use that to hammer if I want to. It's got a tip on it that looks kind of strange. It's not your typical machete look to it, right? Well, that actually has a very definite purpose. It puts the weight right out there at the end of it, so that as I chop, the weight's where I want it to be, at the end of the knife, so I can get the most momentum into whatever I'm chopping with. It'll bury the blade nicely in that. It's thin near the handle, which is good. I don't want a lot of weight put down near the handle. It gives me a better pendulum for it, so that I can really chop some wood with this thing. Now, an element of this that has a lot of people thinking right off the bat, oh, that does not look good. There's no finger guard here at the handle. This is of course a micarta handle. Very reliable, very durable. The steel that this is made out of is also a very durable steel. It's very reliable as well. The reason that there's no finger guard between the blade and the handle here is so that I can actually choke up on it a little bit. This blade isn't sharp right out to the handle. It's made that way on purpose because the Palawanas who use this blade in everyday life like to be able to take their hand, come down on it a little bit, and use that for carving a little bit. So it's really good for that as well. I can carve with it. All around, it's a very versatile tool. In other words, I can use it for chopping, for carving, for hammering, for a variety of different uses in a survival context. Makes it an excellent choice for one of my large blades. The other tool that we're looking at here today, Wetterling's Forest Axe. Now, the Wetterling's Forest Axe has a long history, a long tradition of as a survival tool or as a wilderness tool. Right? In the North Country, this is a far more use or importance than having a big knife. An axe is very versatile. You can use it to carve with, unlike a lot of people would think it's just for chopping. Not so. You can use it for carving, use it for hammering, and of course you can use it for chopping. So it's also a very versatile tool. This one, made by Wetterlings, is actually hand forged. I mean, there's a master smith who pounds this out. One of very few, I believe 12 master smiths make this head and attach it to the handle. So it is very strictly controlled tool. It's very high quality, and I can trust upon its reliability, and it's, to me, kind of an elegant survival tool in my opinion. So those are the two tools that we're going to be using here in our survival series extensively. We're going to be comparing the axe to the machete. I know I have had a lot of interest in the past in how these two tools especially stack up, machete versus an axe, right? And a lot of times we're going to say, yeah, absolutely, an axe is great in the northern country, a machete is great in southern climates, and I really want to compare the two where they're both working in the same climates. So I'm going to have a really cool opportunity to take this axe down to the Philippines and try it in a southern climate, and of course taking and using the machete in a northern climate to meet these survival needs. So the first 3 seconds is about preparation, your tools. It's also about your skills and your training. So skills I kind of look at as, for example, having the skill or ability to build a friction fire or to build a snare. That's a skill. Now the training is when you can take that skill and you try putting it into use in a variety of different environments or conditions. For example, can you build a friction fire when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and everything's dark? Can you build a friction fire when your surroundings are a little bit damp? Can you build a friction fire when your fingers are really cold? I think that training yourself in that kind of scenario gives you the ability to take those skills and use them in real life. Because in real life, your scenario isn't as ideal as having nice dry friction firewood. So that's what I really think your training is all about. Which brings us to the next 3 minutes. When you are placed into a survival situation, the first 3 minutes after that initial 3 seconds where something just radically changes in your environment, your training is going to kick in. If you've prepared yourself to react to a very dangerous or very different scenario, something that you're not used to, where you don't have the environment under control or you don't have a controlled environment around you, then your training is going to kick in. You can rely upon it. It's going to give back to you exactly what you put into it. Now, this isn't just true for a wilderness survival. You can see that concept or that principle played out in a lot of different settings. For example, whitewater kayaking. If you take a bad swim, your training as far as your swimming in whitewater is going to kick in. If you've trained to swim in whitewater, you're going to find your eddies, you're going to get out of the water, you're going to find a safe exit. If you're in mountaineering and you have a really bad crampon placement and you take a slide on a big glacier, your training's going to kick in, your self-arrest techniques, and hopefully you've dialed those in to where you're safe on a big mountain in that kind of scenario. Outside of a wilderness or outdoor recreation aspect, firefighters do the same thing. Like their training, what they put into that training is what they rely on to get them through a fire. It's what makes special forces so elite, training. So I definitely highly recommend taking your skills and combining that with training, until you can utilize those skills in a variety of different environments. Thank you for joining us on this series between comparing the Palawan blade and the Wetterling's force axe. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. I'm excited. Our next video is actually be coming to you from the Philippines, which I'll be heading down to check out the TrailBlade in its kind of native home, so to speak, here real soon. Thanks so much for coming. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.